is virtue ethics according to Aristotle? The goal of life is well-being, which is happiness, and the means to attain it is by acquiring a virtuous character traits like courage, loyalty, or wisdom. But according to Aristotle, hindi lang tungkol sa pagpapakitang tao lamang or pagpapakita ng magandang asal ang virtue ethics. Aristotle also defined virtue, which refers virtue as character traits or psychological dispositions. Virtues are those particular dispositions that are appropriately related to the situation. It is the excellence of a thing to perform a proper function. For example is yung electric fan. It is good if it is functioning well. Kapag hindi naman siya good electric fan, syempre hindi na siya napapakinabangan kasi hindi na siya nagpa-function ng maayos. Then, second example is yung glue. If it can stick materials or things, then it is good. Pag hindi ganun yung function niya, ibig sabihin, hindi siya good. And the last example is yung mango tree. Kapag hindi siya nagpo-produce ng fruit, ibig sabihin, it is a bad tree. Kasi ang mango tree is a fruit-bearing tree which is dapat nagpo-produce siya ng fruit. The nature of human was not only to reproduce but mayroong reason for existence. And according to Aristotle, virtue is reason and reason is virtue. Virtuous person is a person who lives in reason. A person who lives in reason is happy because he is in active exercise of virtue. Virtue is reason because according to Aristotle, we are rational beings. It is natural for us to think. So kapag hindi tayo nag-isip ng tama, hindi yun normal. Dahil sabi nga ni Aristotle, nature na natin ang pagrarason or pag-iisip. And our proper function ay ang paggamit ng isip or utak.
So, principle of morality. According to Aristotle, this is encountered in our everyday lives. We didn't know because it was part of our daily routine. If we just look deeply into it, you will be able to notice it. An example is the mother's care for her children. It is considered as a virtue. But it should be balanced. If sobra yung pag-aalaga ng mother, spoiled yung bata. If kulang naman yung pag-aalaga niya, mapapaliwala yung bata. Yung sobra at kulang na virtue ay tinatawag na vice. Deficient kind of vice, kulang. Excessive kind of vice, kulang. Virtue and between the vices, ito yung tinatawag na mean. So, doctrine of the mean. Moral behavior is the mean between two extremes. At one end is excess, at the other deficiency. Find a moderate position between those two extremes and you will be acting morally. It is one of the important principles we can relate into virtue ethics. In virtue ethics, lahat ng kulang at sobra ay masama. It must always be balanced. Doctrine of the mean is the principle of balance or enough. In our language, akma or sapat. Examples of virtuous conduct. In our video that was shown earlier, it represents the meaning of courage. But in the case of the student, Emma, she was a coward for cheating on her exams. In order to be virtuous, you have to be in the middle. So, how to exercise virtue? According to Aristotle, it can be exercised through habituation. Yung mga ginagawa natin araw-araw. If we keep on doing a certain habit, it develops our character. And our character develops our virtues. And virtues develop our person, the virtuous and vicious person. Good habits equals virtues. A person who exercises good habits is a virtuous person. Bad habits equal vices. A person who exercises bad habits is a vicious person. If we have developed our person, we will become moral exemplars on others. Moral exemplars, magandang halimbawa sa ibang tao.
Good day everyone, I am Isabella Samson, one of your reporters, and as we continue the lesson, let's talk about on why do we aim for the virtuous life. Well, according to Aristotle, we aim for a good life. And according to virtue ethics, good life is eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is a Greek word wherein Aristotle used it as a broad concept to describe the highest good human could strive toward or alive. A term which means well-lived. In the dictionary, eudaimonia is defined as a good or happy life. It is not a temporary happiness we experience, just like when we eat delicious food, drink alcohol, or any activities that triggers the release of the dopamine in the brain. Eudaimonia is a permanent happiness, and according to other sources, it is the contentment we feel after achieving something. A good example of this is when we build a puzzle. The process wasn't easy, but the outcome will give us a contentment and satisfying feeling. So for other virtue ethicists, during 1958, Gertrude Elizabeth Margaret Anscombe published an article called Modern Moral Philosophy, arguing that we should return to the virtues as the idea of a law without a lawyer-giver was incoherent. While Alasdair MacIntyre has a book entitled After Virtue, which was published in 1981. According to him, virtues change over time. According to Rosalind Hursthouse, we acquire virtue individually and to flourish, but we do so together and not at each other's expense. Gilligan proposed that women come to prioritize an ethics of care as their sense of morality that evolves along with their sense of self, while men prioritize an ethics of justice. The version of virtue ethics of Michael Slot is agent-based. The moral rightness of acts is based on virtue motives or characters of the agent, wherein all motives are important. Martha Nussbaum interprets Aristotle's views as absolute justice, temperance, generosity, and etc. are essential to human flourishing in all societies and in all times. So there are 7 virtue ethicists that are mentioned here, but the most influential among them is Aristotle. And that ends the discussion for today. That's all. Thank you for listening.